Everyone says we are AI first, but most AI fails before it even begins.
It just went crazy. Literally broke things down. And then we had to move it to GCP overnight.
Let's say a large company, maybe your ICP, the one you're targeting. Where are they failing with the whole AI?
You cannot just slap AI on top of existing data sets and expect it to behave how you want it to behave. It won't.
If you had to tell me top 3 symptoms that confirms that my data layer is broken, what would that be?
Does your marketing know what's happening in sales? If they don't know, then there is a huge data problem for you right now.
All right, everybody. Today's episode is a treat. We are diving into something that every founder and operator thinks they have solved, but almost none have. Everyone says we are AI first, but most AI fails before it even begins because it's sitting on a broken GTM data layer. Joining me is someone who's not just talking about it, but is actually fixing it. Anirudh, founder of Playmaker. Playmaker went viral for something unusual, guerrilla marketing. And Annie was literally showing up at offices, pretending to deliver coffee just to meet his ICPs face to face. But that's not the story. The story is why he did it and how it led to the realization that AI can save you from the dirty data. Annie, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rahul. Thank you so much for having me here.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah. Small thing is that like Playmaker has evolved, has given birth, or probably adopted a dad called Vibe TM right now, Vibe to Market. Playmaker is like a smaller module that we launched. But yeah, 100% on our cons is that like it did go slightly viral than what I expected. For a B2B product, it just gathered like 3,000 signups in a span of a month. And I would attribute most of it, at least like 80-90% of it, to the founder of Clay, Varun. So he kind of called it out in one of his LinkedIn posts. And overnight, I didn't even know, right? I mean, I actually had it posted on fly.io, which is a AWS wrapper, which is serverless. And I have nothing against fly.io, but it's not suitable for holding up so much traffic. And it just went crazy. Literally broke things down, and then we had to move it to GCP overnight. And yeah, that was about Playmaker. But now, like you said, we're fixing the data layer. AI is only as good as the context, as good as the data that you provide AI. Just slapping an agent, slapping an automation on top of existing CRMs or ERP systems, or even like any kind of database, data warehouse, it's not going to magically solve something. And you see, even today morning, I was seeing a meme where someone kind of just mentioned how there is a BI tool, business intelligence tool, coming out almost like every week, right? And VCs are they're so interested in like this AI BI tool, but the problem is that like how many ever you build, the fundamental data is where the real problem is. Like you need to like normalize it, structure the unstructured data. You need to tag it. You need to make sure that AIs can actually like understand what you're building. So yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, how you went viral. I mean, I did not know the story of how Varun might have tagged you, or how you actually got there. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, you were walking into offices just like a delivery guy. You were watching GTM teams work. What made you do that? Like curiosity, desperation?
It's a lot of curiosity, to be honest, because thing is, look, honestly, like we are a very small startup, right? We are still like super early stage, and we are still trying to find our footing in the ecosystem. And when you're in that, I'm a big fan of poker. So you kind of like play the other player, not the cards, right? So this is the cards I'm dealt with. I'm dealt with a pair of twos, right? I'm like, you know what? Like I'm gonna really like figure out a way to win this. And the only way to do that is like, hey, I'm in Bay Area right now. I recently came here. And if I have to reach my target users who are potentially like CROs or like operation leaders, ops, like I don't know, like some kind of GTM engineers and stuff like that. So it's like they're bombarded with so many emails, so many ads, so many LinkedIn messages by like every other company in the world, right? And these channels can be activated from anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be like me being here. So if I just do a matrix and I'm like, okay, I'm here, I need it to be cost effective, and I'm running out of time. And at the same time, I don't want to do something that I can do from anywhere in the world, but I have to do something that I can do only when I'm here. So that is literally just going and meeting them in their office. And I did what every other founder or everyone else would do. I just like cold emailed like 50, 60 odd people. And I just like LinkedIn spammed like so many people. I just told them that, hey, you want to catch coffee? Like no one responded. Like, like there were a few, there were very few, but then they were not really my ICP. And it was getting really, really frustrating beyond a point. And so I go to Facebook Marketplace. I found this used bike. It's all the way in the South Bay. It's beyond San Jose, right? I take this Caltrain, I go there, pick up this bike, I come back, and then I map out all startups that I really want to visit, and they're all somewhere in San Francisco. Or like
Hmm.
the maximum I have to come is like all the way to Mountain View. That's it. And I just take my bike. I buy like a crate of coffee every now and then for every startup that I go to, and I just walk in. I go to the lobby and I'm like, hey, I'm here to deliver coffee. And they're like, to whom? I'm like, okay, to this person. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. So that person is not in the office. Okay, what about this person? And that's when the character breaks. Sometimes it's like, get the fuck out of here. You're just like messing things around right now.
How did it go? Tell me, like, how did you handle it? When they found out, okay, you know what, this guy's like messing with us. He's not here to deliver the
Yeah.
coffee. What happened? Give me a scenario.
Yeah. So I'll tell you exactly what happened. I can't name the company, but then I'll tell you
Sure.
what exactly happened, right? So this was the first rejection. And I am really good at this shit, to be honest, right? So when they told me that, hey, this person doesn't work here anymore, like it's not in this building anymore, right? I like, okay, what about this person? Because I have this list, I have a Claude app that I made, like a vibe coded app, which has a map, and then I click on the pointer of that company. When I reach their company, it's going to give me the list of people who I have to like call out. So I just like ask, okay, what about this person? And then they're like, no, but are you here for specifically some person, or what are you trying to do here? And I was like, no, I am. I'm just here to deliver coffee, and like I'm here to pitch my product, like run some user discoveries. It's like, nah, you cannot go inside without like having a scheduled appointment with someone or something like that. Then I was like, okay, just put yourself in my shoes, right? You're a small startup. You're trying to just talk to people. Is it so bad that you have to talk to people? Look, we're talking, right? I'm just going to talk to the other person just like that. What's the harm? You can tap me up. You can check my pockets. You can check my bag. Like, I no harm, dude. Come on. Like, I'm just going to go talk. And then, like, she just starts laughing. And then she was like, look, this is the building policy. I cannot really do anything like that. I was like, okay, cool. So here you can have this coffee. And if you really like this coffee, by the way, I got like a really good coffee that day, right? I got it from Phil's. I was like, if you really like this coffee today, you got to let me in. And she actually let me in. She was like,
Wow.
okay, you got 15 minutes. You just go in, get out. That's it. If you're not coming out in 15 minutes, I'm going to come in and then check up on you. Like, I got to like kick you out after that.
Wow.
I got 10 minutes, dude. I mean, the person who I was looking for was not there, but I was inside. I just entered and I was like, yeah, there was actually like, there was just a room full of engineers. There was no marketing or sales people. It was super, super funny for me to go and find. But yeah, this was the most funniest. Also, there was a low point as well, this whole thing, that I was just sitting in a lobby for a long, long time. I literally just opened up my laptop and just started working because I was like, okay, it's more than 30 minutes. I've been sitting here. I can just like get some work done. I started seeing my emails and like started doing some more cold outreach, started coding, all of that. And I'm just there. Like before I realized, it is like 3.5 hours passed. And this was inside Rippling's office, Rippling's lobby.
My gosh.
And there's no way in hell they're gonna fucking let me in. And
I'm surprised
finally,
you even reached that place because I know because my co-founder is ex-Rippling, so he tells me how security works there.
yeah, it's so the thing is like it's not even about the startup, right? For example, that there was like a couple of other startups who didn't really have a lobby or a security or something. They were like more than happy to like chat with me. They were extremely happy. They were like, oh yeah, just come on over. Like, I just like stood outside the glass door. I'm like, ting, 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 hey, what's up? And like, yeah, just come in, dude. And we know you tagged us on LinkedIn. So every time before I go, this is the playbook. I kind of tag them on socials as well. So you need to do this whole
I
live
love that strategy
meeting,
from you,
live
and believe it or
posting.
not, I've already stolen that, and I'm executing it next week.
Yeah, it kind of puts them on the spot, and all you need is just one win, right? And you
Yes.
need to be strategic about it. So the first person who you're gonna tag on that day when you're going out, when you're going, however you wanna do this, right? First person on top most on the list, they need to be satisfying a few things. Like, so stuff is like, one is they're active on the platform you're posting on. Two, they're also like kind of active with the startup ecosystem. They're engaging with other founders. They're kind of, I know there are many ways you can validate this, right? And finally, one last thing is that if they're already a connect, you can cheat code this, right? You can actually like DM them and tell them that, hey, I'm going to tag you. I hope you're okay with that. Like I'm just gonna like put this thing on you. If you just like reply to the comment, it'll be great. And yeah, I mean, well, once that happens, then it's like a snowball, right? It's just like the other person is also obligated, like, and especially the first person is like having a great social credits. Then it's gonna be like, oh yeah, cool. Oh wow, okay, this person did it. I got to do it too. Like I want to be in the same hype train.
Mm,
So it
yeah,
all just
that's
works out.
interesting. I think I saw this with another founder, and I think I saw this with other founder the same day when I saw on your LinkedIn that you kind of had the similar strategy where this other guy, I think, bought like 50 Labubus and tagged everybody in engineering, and it
Oh
kind of went
wow.
viral. And yeah,
Yeah.
this was super slick. And yeah, we had a few ideas up our sleeve, and you'll see that coming in coming weeks. But thank you for sharing that. I loved the whole strategy. Love the whole hustle. All right, let's dive right into the topic. So, Annie, you were not pitching. You were actually observing. I'm pretty sure you have seen sitting next to the founders, so maybe CROs, looking at how the data is really flowing inside the sales team, how much of it is tribal knowledge, half type notes, or maybe CRM junk. The first-hand chaos is what most founders, I believe, never see. So that's how you ended up
Yeah.
saying, wait, the problem is not tools, it's the foundation, right? So since we've got the stage, let's dig into the foundation, because if AI is the engine, data is the fuel, and most GTM engines you're saying are running on mud. So when GTM leaders are complaining, they will say our CRM sucks, or maybe AI is not giving us the value, because that's a hot topic right now. And you are saying they don't have a CRM problem, they have a data design problem. Unpack that for us. Tell us more about it.
So this is the real problem, right? Like if you go to Reddit today and if you just see how bad the situation is with Salesforce, HubSpot, all the bigger CRMs, ERP systems in the world, SAP, they're all great products, by the way, right? Like really, really amazing products. And they solve like $1 billion in revenue for people. And they also make $1 billion and make maybe not of billions of dollars in revenue. But the fundamental problem is that, like, see, what happened to, if you just zoom out a little bit and then go back in history, there was this product called Siebel. So Siebel was the first ever, not the first ever, I mean, kind of like a popular CRM, which people used to put on disk and then like they used to use it. You remember the days when you have to put a disk to use a software because there's
Yeah,
no cloud, and then the cloud
Microsoft.
came in, and that's when Salesforce founder Mark Benioff was like, I mean, obviously the godfather of like all this stuff. So he kind of went ahead with this bold statement at campaign that like cloud is going to eat the world. Like it's going to eat software. Software landscape's technically changing. You don't need an on-prem person to come and then put a disk in your computer to fucking have software. That makes sense. That makes sense, right? And then cloud evolved, and all of a sudden it is like, oh wow, this is magic. Do you mean cloud computing is like there is a computer in the cloud? Like, no, that's not the case. I mean, people constantly had this misconception and all that stuff, but this kind of stuff evolution keeps happening. And if we see, it's been 10 years since that happened. And it's now about time. It's pretty much the inflection point where people are really, really frustrated. And there you can see like some modern day CRMs like Clarify or Atio and Zero, and all these guys are coming up, popping up every day, every other day. Right? So the reason is strong tailwinds and people frustration. And if you go now, if you zoom in a little more, why are they frustrated? What's going on is that like you're constantly given a cookie cutter for data is becoming more and more multimodal today. There is videos, there is pictures, there is audio, there is you got all these ways to capture data. So, for example, you're recording this video using Riverside or Granola or something like that. Right? There is a note taker. And then apart from that, you capture my intent by me visiting your website, filling up a form, downloading a PDF. Okay, which PDF is this? Okay, now there is a PDF now, there is a video now, that's an MP4. And then there is some text or events that I did on your website. And then I came in and then I started using your product. Now that's going to be like a sign up. That's another event. And there's a timestamp. Like you see already how rich this data has gotten. It's like extremely multidimensional. You cannot put it in a cookie cutter model. And by doing that, what's happening is it used to work back in the day because nobody is really selling So if you just like have something about you, if I just know your name, your where you're from, or what's your company, what's your job title, that's good enough. I mean, that's what Apollo gives you, right? Uh, what traditional data brokers are giving you today is good, but not good enough. It's not going to give you the alpha. And building products have become like extremely easy. Distribution is king. And when all these things, if you just connect all these dots, what I just told you, ultimately what's going on is that there is so much data, there's so much enrichment. K gives you so much enrichment. Apollo gives you so much enrichment. Like Zoom Info gives you so everyone's giving you enrichment. Enrichment. The problem is that like how do you consume all this enrichment? AI goes crazy when you put everything in it, shove everything inside AI, and then hope that it'll work. Whenever you hope something will work, it never works. It's like, it's like my mom just trying the same recipe again and again and hoping that the pancake will be fluffier this time, but it's not. It's not gonna be. You just need to change the inputs. You need to play around with whatever you have in your control. So that is the data that you're putting in. That's the inputs. People don't change the data. They don't work on that. If you see pro teams like Perplexity, Slack, Airbnb, of the world, the difference is that if you actually zoom in and observe in their job profiles or like people who are working for them, there is a lot of great engineers. There is a lot of Pinterest has a great data culture. And like, so a lot of these Meta has, so a lot of these great companies have invested over time to build internal tooling. But then what happens to the rest of them, right? And even then, even if you have human headcounts, warm bodies actually doing it, but then even then, I think LLM is at a point where if you do it right, if you use the right models, and if you use the right methods and algorithms and regression models and stuff on top of it, it's going to be really amazing. Like what do you see? The efficiency if you add agents on top of it after that, and agents on top of it before that is like stark. The difference is sun and moon. So that's my learning, and that's what I realized as well by talking to all these people.
Got it. So, Annie, what I'm hearing is what you're saying is HubSpot, Salesforce are not bad. They're, of course, great companies. We all love them. It's how the data model was never meant to handle how revenue teams are actually working today. Now, go a little deeper for me. Like, is this because the use cases of, or maybe the way we are selling, or maybe the way people are buying, those processes and flows have changed, and companies or the legacy companies who are using maybe HubSpot or Salesforce or any other legacy CRM, they have never been able to adopt or mold because, again, HubSpot and Salesforce were kind of built in a legacy way. And we have seen some of it coming up in different forms, shapes, and other. Is that the case?
See, thing is, like, I wouldn't question the fundamental structure of HubSpot as Salesforce in a way. Is that it still works, because if you think what is HubSpot and Salesforce, is nothing but like a framework on top of databases. That's it. It's a structured DB, but then with some UI and bells and whistles. That's what is HubSpot or Salesforce, any CRM for that fact. But today, like I said, like I mean, even like you correctly pointed out, there is a change in pattern with the way people are selling. There is a lot more intent based. This word is floating around a lot in the market. It's like intent and signals. Everyone wants to know signals. Everyone wants to know like what is exactly happening now, not yesterday, not last year or anything like that. I want to know what's happening now. How many GitHub commits did, I don't know, like did Slack push in their GitHub repos, open GitHub repos? How many publicly available page views or traffic did they get? How many job openings do they have? And what is the contents of these job openings? Are they looking for? So one thing that we constantly track is that, are people hiring for sales or MarTech or GTM engineering? And if they're hiring, what does that job description look like? What are the tool stack they're asking that people should know before they join? And do we have these integrations? If you have these integrations, great. If you don't have, then we should build, right? And before we go out and tell them, and we are armed with this data, even if we don't have it in the product, it doesn't matter. I can just go and then tell them that, hey, this integration is coming in like a couple of months down the lane, but then we have this. Would you be interested? Because I saw that you have it in your job description, or you can't bluff me, right? I mean, they obviously have objections, and I'm going to be like, oh, then why are you hiring someone for this?
Makes sense. Yeah, I think I can totally agree, because, and it's not just for one position. I think all the positions now are requiring for different latest tools. Your point is right. So, okay, I'm going to dive into the next point you mentioned, which is where you mentioned that, these solutions are great. So when AI is sitting on top of all these kind of noise, signals, the legacy data, it is not able to make sense of what is relevant. Is that the right direction to go into? That it's getting maybe confused and it's not that intelligent?
No. It kind of, you're getting closer. So it kind of is true, right? So have you used any of these popular MCP servers?
Tell me.
There is a let's take one example, right, which I played out recently, and then I even posted on my LinkedIn. There is this MCP server from Smartly. Smartly is this email sequencing tool, right? So Smartly is a great tool, and we use Smartly internally, to be honest. And we had run like a whole bunch of campaigns for different purposes, right? Like distributing our lead magnet, distributing some sales collateral, and all that stuff. And I wanted to know what really, because our segment slapped us with like a $500 bill, actually $900 bill, whatever. Like I got like really frustrated. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. I mean, I just like unsubscribed right away. Like I like, nope, I cannot play these guys anymore because I'm a small startup. I mean, we have budgets, right? So we ended up building our own CDP of sorts, like internal trolling, and that failed. That broke. So now I need to know what happened. Like I want to know like a snapshot of which campaigns is working, what's going on, and all that stuff. So there was Smartly MCP, me being the nerd I am, obviously. So I just like quickly opened up Claude. I connected the Smartly using the API key, and I just followed all their instructions. I asked a very, very basic question, like the most trivial question that I can ask. Something like, hey, can you give me like a drill down or like a high level overview of which campaigns have performed the most in the last, I don't know, like 2 weeks? And this is all the regex pattern that you need to follow. I even gave the regex pattern, right? I mean, like being a little technical in there. And it just gave, it was like trying attempt 1 out of 8, and it tried 8 times before it told me that it cannot do it. And before that, then after that, I asked like even more trivial questions, something I don't remember what it is. And then it just gives me like some answer which was not even close to what I want. It was extremely bad. And I realized that, okay, so just what's an MCP? MCP is the bridge between like LLMs can operate on your data, right? So now the fundamental data is bad. Now just to give you an example, what I did was that I took that data out using JSON. I formatted it a little bit. I cleaned it up, and then I put it in ChatGPT and the same Claude again. And then I asked questions now on top of it. It is way more efficient. It was able to traverse through that exact data and then tell me, okay, this is the answer that you want. Now, hence proved, right? I mean, this was our magical moment. I was like, so far it was like for larger data sets, and this is true even for smaller data sets. It's just about how you ingest the data. You cannot just slap AI on top of existing data sets and expect it to behave how you want it to behave. It won't.
Wow, I mean, it's so simple, yet there is a problem worth solving.
Yeah, and this is by the way, this is just for text data, right? I'm talking about JSON. I'm not even going into files yet. I'm not even going into videos yet. So once you add all this into the mix, so the other day I was chatting with this person who's a private equity firm, and private equity firms, they have a huge problem, dude. You wouldn't even believe it's really nuts. When they acquire 2-3 companies and merge into one, they do a lot of M&As, right? And when they do that, each company has their own CRM, and each of them have their own custom fields, and each of them call churn differently. Each of them call revenue differently. They report differently. So to roll up all this into one, it's a nightmare. It's a job for like months. They outsource this problem and put a lot of human heads on it. And at the end of the day, they just like boil down. They're like, oh, you know what? Like we'll just use what we have. So that dude was literally he was using every curse word in the dictionary possible, and maybe some not even in the dictionary. I know, but he was just so sad. He was just too sad. He was too frustrated.
Amazing. So Annie, I want to get a little tactical here. I think you already talked about some of the failure in this chain. Perhaps for you, like because you're early stage startup, you were able to talk about how you're, let's say, leveraging the leads, also the data from Smart Leads, putting that into ChatGPT or Claude, and getting some sense out of it. Walk me through how, let's say, a large company, maybe your ICP, the one you're targeting, where are they failing with the whole AI?
So the thing is, they have invested a lot, hoping that there will be returns. And this is a little more nuanced, right? There are like 2-3 parts. So what kind of investments they made is that, like, one is legacy softwares. For example, we all know that the current big players in the industry are kind of going AI full on. They're putting all the eggs in one basket, especially someone like Salesforce, like Dreamforce, like Agentforce. So if you just go to support forums in Salesforce or the Reddit and see r/Salesforce, what's going on, it's just that, again, Salesforce cannot control the data you put in. And because of that, the AI on top of it also doesn't function well. It's as simple as that. How much ever you try, right? It's pretty simple. And also, like, bigger companies have kind of like bought this whole dream that, oh wow, okay, cool. So now I can ask anything. So usually this is what it takes. For a CRO to get a report done, they have to raise a Jira ticket or some kind of a ticket, support ticket to their internal team. And it takes somewhere between in order of like a week to all the way to a month, depending on the backlogs. And for you and me, it might sound like, oh, it's just a report. Come on, man. I mean, it should just take a few hours, right? Pull in data, put it in a sheet, and like use something around it, just bring it. No, we're not. We're talking about like millions of rows of data. It's not easy. And at the same time, they're also like bombarded with like so many other requests, right? They're constantly bombarded with requests from the CEO's office, from the CFO, and there's like some other investor or like an angel investor who just like recently onboarded, or I don't know, like there are like so many reasons which is even beyond my scope. So what I can hear is that this much amount of time it takes is a lot of opportunity cost. And if they want to do it faster, they do a bad job. They don't do a good job because of that. And there's got to be human errors. There is no doubt about that, right? And all this happens only because there is no good system below. The data is like completely scattered, and no one ever took the effort to actually fix it for good, but they rather assumed you went for this shiny object syndrome. Sales and marketing is famously known for going after, say, shiny objects, right? They just want to like, oh, instantly, okay, cool. Next is like smart lead. Oh, great. Okay, that's going to change the game. That's going to like, magically get me like 25% reply rate. No, it's not going to. It's like there is a fundamental problem. You need to think at first principles. And when I asked her, and she was like, oh yeah, I tried like HubSpot Breeze, and I tried this, but none of them like really gave the answers that I want. They just fail at trivial answers. And that's because you're trying to put a square peg in a circular hole again and again, again. You're not really like fixing it. And this is just like one problem. And there's like a multitude of other problems because there are other vendors who just came in and said that, oh yeah, cool, you know what, you can do AI SDR now. You can automate your entire SDR. You can do something else like AI BI. You can
We
do
know how
this, you
that
can do
went.
that. Yeah. I think they're not even in the ecosystem right now. Probably they all pivoted, but it's all again boiling down to the same problem, right? Like even if you feed data into ChatGPT, sometimes that is way more efficient. It's simply because when you export it, when you export data and then you put it inside this chat kind of interface, you are forced to export it in a specific format. It's CSV or JSON, and it's very simple. It's right in front of you. The answer is right in front of you. Now, CSV and JSON are like very favorable for LLMs to operate at very high intensity or like very high efficiency. Now, the problem is that people don't do that. When they add AI directly on the softwares, they don't take the effort of converting this bridge, adding an adapter in between, and everything goes to shit. It just goes to chaos.
Love that. Tell me something. So, if I'm a founder listening to this podcast, and if you had to tell me top 3 symptoms that confirms that my data layer is broken, what would that be?
Yeah. Okay. For one, I would like to know if you exactly, like honestly know what's your revenue metric, what are your run rates, and what is your current burn and churn. Like exactly. No, not fucking around. Not. I'm not like telling the number that you report to received or something like that. You just gotta tell me like with all honesty, right? And at the same time, if you get a little more nuanced, maybe some of them got this right, but then a little more nuanced is that like the sales pipeline velocity. How long does it take before you actually close a deal? And what are all the data points you're tracking for that? The problem is, like, most of it are just proxy data points and empty fields and CRMs. And because of that, it's all just random. They just look at a number on a dashboard and they assume that is the right answer, but it's not. Now, another thing that I could tell, another leading indicator I could tell why your data might be broken is you kind of bought into Clay, you bought into ZoomInfo, you bought into all these platforms, right? Great platforms, amazing, no doubt about that. And you're burning through like close to $3,000, $4,000 per month. But you should map that, try to map that with the amount of deals closed. If you're not closing as much deals, and if you're just constantly enriching, what are you enriching for?
Makes sense.
And also, like, what are you even doing? Like, I know that NA10 looks really great on LinkedIn posts and Twitter feeds or whatever, but do you really need it? Like, that's a big question, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if I actually answered the question.
No, you did. Although, I mean, I would want to probably add on to this, and maybe you can tell me if you want to repeat some of this. So when I said symptoms, I was looking for. I think you got eventually some of them right, and I don't know the right answer. I'm looking, of course, for the right answer from you. What I was looking for is basically
the fundamental is that, like, for early stage, if you're a founder, usually data is not the problem for you, right? Especially in early stage, because you might want it to be a problem, but it's really not. The real problem is that you want to stay alive somehow. But
all right, so
as
maybe
your
we can
company
maybe you
grows,
can flip the question again, where I could ask the same question. Maybe I could say, I would not say early stage. I would say if you're a founder, or let's say if you're a RevOps person or you're an operator, okay, and you want to find out the top 3 symptoms. So I think the kind of answer which I'm looking for is the problem. And for example, when you said, hey, you know what, I would ask them about, and this is all offline, by the way. So when you said that I would ask them about the, their revenue metrics, I think the answer I'm looking for is something like what you said earlier. For example, I would ask them, hey, do you have, like, let's say, a data on how your sequences are working, or is your AI assistant hallucinating, or maybe maybe your reps are not trusting the AI, for example.
Yeah,
those kind of answers.
I have the exact answer for you. Yeah,
awesome.
Actually, the last one is perfect. But yeah, coming back to it. So the thing is, you're like, as a founder, you will know exactly when your data is bad. Is when your marketing and your sales have no idea what's going on in each other's teams. Yeah. So marketing thinks this deal is, like, handed off to sales. They're probably reaching out. They're going to be closed in some time. I warmed them up as much as I can. I took them to this baseball game. I fed them dinner. I did all this stuff. But then sales has not prioritized it because there is no connection between both of it that is very efficient. Because it takes, you remember the time I told, like, it takes like weeks before it hits the reporting done? And that reporting is this. This is what happens. Like, the CMO transfers the data to CRO, and CRO, like, propagates the data downwards towards the reps. And it's not just CRO, CMO, it's just like a words that I'm using here, right? It could be any way, even if it's like bottom to bottom data migration. Even then there is gaps. And there's more nuanced problems. For example, in a lot of organizations, they use different CRMs for different purposes, right? If it's the bigger the organization, you'll be surprised to know that, some of them use HubSpot, some of them use Salesforce, some of them use something else. And it's like, why do you even need so many CRMs? But it's just that because, let's say, there is a North America director of sales, and then there is a LATAM CRO. So everyone has their own favorites, and everyone kind of was sold on this dream with a tool. Some sales rep from some other startup told that, oh, this is the best product for you. We'll make it for you. Don't worry about that. So all this kind of stuff. And because of that, it's so distributed. And what they typically do is that they just push all this into Snowflake or BigQuery or something like that. And they think it can magically just, okay, now I brought all the data into one place. Great. It's all in one bucket. But that doesn't mean that it started making sense. It doesn't mean that at all. Now you add like a little more, right? You add RevOps, markup, sales ops, data ops, all these people on top of it. And then you expect them to, if you speak to some of them, their life is literally hell. I'm not even kidding, because no AI really works for them. They just like hate it. Because if you see how this data comes all the way from these CRMs to like this bucket, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. And everywhere, like, for example, let's say let's say there is a SaaS pricing metric. So the pricing metric will be like very different in each CRM, and each one has its own field name. Each one has its own, I don't know, like decimal point, currency, value. It just changes and changes as you go more and more deeper. It gets even more and more tricky, and there is no conversion layer. There is no standardization in between. And when you see in a very high level, I would ask like only one thing: does your marketing know what's happening in sales? If they don't know, then there is a huge data problem for you right now. And I think yeah, like, and then the tougher that question gets, it gets even more trickier.
Quite interesting. All right, let's bring you in, Annie. So let's say you are with this company who has all these problems, and you are brought in as an expert because you're trying to solve for it. How would you go about, let's say, rebuilding the whole GTM data layer from scratch, so there is no legacy baggage, no bloated CRM, and everybody is happy?
Yeah. So the first thing I would do, what we do is that we do this thing called as a 48-hour sprint. So we don't believe in like this long drawn out partnerships, right? If we can add value in the next 48 hours for you, and that value is very small. It's not like some magic pill that will magically change the world for you. So it's like a very small pain point. We'll take that and we try to solve that. And if you're able to solve that, then we continue and then we figure out a way to work together for the future, or else we just like pull the plug right there, purge the data and get out. So what does this 48 hours look like? So this 48 hours is very simple. We take a read-only snapshot. When I say snapshot, it's a snapshot, right? Like it's a slice. So usually in bigger companies, it's like I said, like millions and billions of rows of data. And they enriched it. They got like some enrichment from this vendor. They got some enrichment from that vendor. They bought data from that other guy, data broker. So we kind of take a reasonable size. For different companies, it's a different size. So we usually work on percentages. We take like somewhere between 2 to 3% of their entire data volume, digest that, put them in like a data warehouse, and also like inject all the files that is related to it. And we apply regression models on top of it. That's the first step. And right after that, we also have this trained proprietary small language models. Why do we use smaller language models? It's pretty interesting thing as well, right? I can probably dive deeper later in another conversation. But if you see Perplexity uses a lot of smaller language models because smaller language models are very efficient in specific verticalized tasks. Large language models tend to hallucinate because they're locked. They're supposed to be general purpose. I want you to do just deduplicate. I just want you to score my leads. I just want you to make sure that, for example, John from like Amazon.br Brazil website is the same John who got transferred to Amazon.com. I want you to like, track that. That's it. This is the job. That's it. So we spin up like a bunch of these agents, right? And all of them are like kind of backed by this small and like medium-sized language models. And they're very trained on a lot of GTM data, which we kind of synthetically took and we also bought and we ingested into them. Now, after this 48 hours, we do like a quick A/B test of the same snapshot that's in your current CRM or data warehouse or whatever, and this new CRM. It's all very properly structured. There is no missing field. And there is this one score we add. That's why we call ourselves like putting your go-to-market team in focus mode, is that you don't need like 10 or 20 metrics. You just want to know one thing to make the call right now, today, for this moment. And then if you want to go down deeper, yeah, we do offer that as well. You can go down and in your CRM, there is all these custom fields. You can go check it out. But then there's this one score called the alpha score. How much of a chance is it for me to close this deal into, like, I don't know, like make this deal a revenue, right? That's what an alpha score says. Higher the alpha score, higher the possibility of me to convert this deal into a revenue. Lower the alpha score, probably is going to take a few more months. It needs nurture, it needs this, it needs that, all that stuff. So we just give you like, okay, this is what you need to focus on for this month. And this is the snapshot. That's it. Most of them kind of like love that level of clarity. It sounds super simple and super dumb, but most interesting things are super simple and super dumb as well. So yeah.
I'm going to ask you a dumb question, okay? Speaking of dumb.
Yeah.
This all looks, first of all, very boring, non-sexy, right? And I can imagine that why nobody wants to really get their hands dirty, because everybody is, like you said, running after the shiny syndrome. Let's get the best tool, which can, of course, get the more pipeline, more revenue. And, yeah, data probably gets overlooked, is what I'm assuming or what I'm hearing from you. I know you also said that 0 to 1, obviously nobody cares about the foundation. We care about, staying alive. But let's say you are into 1 to 10 or, beyond that journey. And now you're decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do things the proper way, like you said, first principles way. Are there any things to keep in mind at that stage when you have decided that you want to do it right and you're not in the whole game of surviving? What would you suggest? Let's say if somebody who does not want to buy your product or does not want your services, but still wants to take an action, what would you suggest them?
Invest in data engineering or invest in ops early on, because usually I see this kind of problem bubbling up somewhere in like late Series A or like early Series A. That's when, because thing is in seed, pre-seed, obviously like pre-seed is all about the founders, like the team, right? If you think about venture-backed businesses in general. But if you're not a venture-backed business, then you're kind of you still kind of want to, because initially it's all about like sustenance. It's like, I want to sustain the market. I just want to stay alive. I don't care about data, if it's looking good, if it's looking bad. All I need is just an air table. So I know this. I know a lot of founders, including myself. Like now I'm using a CRM, but then like lot of founders like usually just like they're happy with Airtable, or like they're happy with the Google Sheet. So they've customized it to the point where it works for them, because they just, all you need at the end of the day is that you need to stay on top of who are interested in your product, who are potentially interested, and then who do you want to go after, like in the next foreseeable future. You don't need like a list of 20,000 people who might never respond to your emails. So instead, like you just want that much. That's it. But then that volume changes because you kind of sort of hit a PMF. Like PMF is like it's a mix of a feeling and quantifiable metric, both, right? So quantifiable metric is that you suddenly see the surge of revenue that's coming in. People are like, whoever you talk to, you found this magical positioning word that is, because you've been building the same thing. It's not like you changed the product too much. It's literally the same thing. You just suddenly struck a chord. You started talking the right language and the right pain points to the people, and they're like, oh, this is exactly what you're looking for. Yes, this is it. This is it. And the moment you start hearing words like that, you're like, oh, okay, wow, okay. So that means you're up to something. And the more you hear that, the more it becomes chaotic, because now all of a sudden your landing page copy changes, your ad campaign copy changes, your everything changes, because now you know exactly what to talk that the end user will understand. So far, you were talking something that you could understand, not the end user. End user will be like, oh, we don't know if we really need that, right? If I go and call myself, for example, this is a fancy word we keep using internally, is that we are the revenue reliability operating system and stuff like that. If I go and tell this, they're like, that sounds like a bunch of fluff. We don't know what are you talking about, right? I mean, who are you again? Like, so they're just like confused. But then if I just go and tell them simply like, hey, we'll just score your leads from CRM, you don't have to worry about it. We'll just declutter. It's like way more simpler. They're like, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, this kind of makes sense. So tell me more. So that is like, that's the, maybe I honestly haven't still found my positioning properly yet. But then once people find, this is the pattern I've seen, once they find, they see a lot of data coming in. And that is when it's a good time is to right away invest. At least in today's world, there are like a lot of GTM engineers as well, not just ops people. So any of these job titles, right? Like it could be marketing operations, revenue operations, sales operations, data operations, or just a fucking operating intern, like whatever, dude. Like, I mean, whatever, like that is in your radar and that's easy to, like, I don't know, like easy to just get them onboarded and start working on your stuff. It helps a lot, especially if you're a sales driven company. If you're a sales driven company and you have like SDRs and BDRs reporting under you, or as a founder you yourself are running the show, it's good to have good to have a perspective of what is working and what is not working, because or else you're just constantly going to, it's easy to just go and do the next thing that you love the most, not the right thing that you love the most, right?
Love that. Love that. Thank you, Annie. So, Annie, this has been totally wild. I think we started with you sneaking into offices, pretending to be a coffee guy, and somehow ended up at heart of the one of the biggest GTM problems you're saying we're facing today, which is broken data foundation. My last and final question: if there's one thing every founder, GTM operator, or RevOps leader should remember from this conversation, what would that be? Just one key takeaway.
Fine. Okay. Wow. Dude, okay, kind of put me on the spot there. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I know this whole data thing, being data driven and data oriented or data informed, all that stuff, is a lot like intellectual masturbation, to be honest. If I may use the word, right? So it's just that it's like an engineer constantly telling that, oh yeah, I can refactor this more for a much more polished version. Make that 1% better, 1% better. Honestly, the truth is you just need something, but don't call nothing a something. That's also bad. Just make sure that there is enough to align multiple functions in a company, because there is going to be chaos. You think, I mean, Apple or like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, they all have chaos. There is something, no doubt about that. But they still make like millions of dollars of revenue. It's simply because like there is always a fine line. You cannot obsess too much on the fact that, oh wow, I need it to be, because beyond a point it becomes more painful and more hurtful or like harmful for the business than a good thing. So you just need to strike that balance, right? Because I have seen personally where I've also been a victim when I was an engineer, that I have this OCD that, oh, it needs to be like this perfect code, like then it's all modular, it's all like perfect, it's all encapsulated, all this bullshit. Like you can use whatever words you want, but at the end of the day, like what's the outcome? Are your reps happy? Are they like really able to go and then like focus on the one thing that they really want to do, that is sell? They should not be focusing on administrative activities like going and updating CRM or spending hours on research just to figure out that the rep that the end person is not going to buy anything from them. So all these are the things that kind of puts reps down. But then if you're are you able to enable them, do whatever it takes to just enable them, right? And similarly, even for marketing, like do whatever it takes to let your team run like the next best webinar or the next best podcast or like whatever show, road show, campaign, all that stuff. I think that is a North Star. Data is fine. It's an enabler.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing this, Annie. Thank you so much for being here. My final question, I'm sorry I lied about that earlier, is who would you like to see next on the podcast if you were to host one?
Dude, cold outreach to Stevie Case. She's a CRO at Manta.
Of course.
She will have a whole lot of things to talk about. And she was really nice to have me in her office, because when I went with the coffee, I started with her. When I said that you should start with someone who's really up in the ladder, I started with her.
Mm-hmm.
I never ever imagined in my wildest dream that I'll be able to sit inside Vanta's office talking with the CRO of Vanta. And it just happened. So you should cold outreach or whatever, like connect with her on LinkedIn, do something about it. But I see that she's also giving a lot of talks and she's very active on the socials in general. So I'm sure you'll have a killer time hosting her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for recommending her. I think she's one of the 5 people for whom I have set up like the bell icon. So anytime her post goes up, I usually get that alert. So she's one of those 5 people. But yeah, I saw your post, when you tagged her. But yeah, definitely I'm going to reach out to her and tell her that you recommended me.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Thank you.
Cool, dude. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording now.
All right.